Welcome back to my channel. I am back with another Love and Hip Hop Atlanta review, so let's just get right into what happened in this episode. So at the beginning of this episode, Zayn and Ashley show up to Jock and Kendra's party, and Mendeecees just happens to be there, and he starts talking to them about how he's still upset about his breakup with Yandy. And Ashley decides to just rip the bandage right off, and she tells him that both him and Yandy cheated on each other, which is what most people think. A lot of people think that Mendeecees cheated on Yandy, so Yandy got her lick back, and once Yandy cheating ended up getting out to the media, that's when their relationship started to crumble. Now, obviously, we don't really know if that's true or how things have actually happened because we're not in their relationship, but I think most people agree with what Ashley is saying. But Mendeecees decided to get very defensive and push back on Ashley, saying that he's never cheated on Yandy, and obviously Ashley was not believing him. I don't believe him either. I mean, obviously I don't know if he's cheated on Yandy or not because I don't have any proof of that, but there has been rumors over the years about his alleged cheating, and I think that if we were to ask Yandy if he's cheated on her, I think that she would probably say that he has. Now, Zayn obviously decides to get involved and defend Mendeecees, saying that Ashley shouldn't say that Mendeecees cheated because she doesn't have any proof of it. Obviously, he's going to defend somebody cheating because from Ashley's point of view, she said that Zayn has cheated on her. But Zayn decides to turn things around on Ashley and bring up the fact that she still has her ex-husband's last name. And honestly, I am tired of them talking about this last name situation. I understand Zayn's frustration. He doesn't want his wife to be carrying another man's last name. However, this is a conversation that the two of them should have had before they decided to get married. If her having his last name was so important to him, he should have asked her about that before they decided to go through with getting married. And if she said that she had no interest in changing her last name, then I feel like they shouldn't have went through with it in the first place. But after Mendeecees and Zayn run Ashley out of there, Mendeecees ends up opening up to Jock about how much he misses Yandy. And I'm not saying that it's not true that he misses Yandy, but I do feel like it's weird that now he's saying he misses her because a couple of seasons ago, she was the one saying that she missed him, and she was the one that was trying. I mean, she had to basically beg this man to wear his wedding ring, and he was saying that he didn't want to wear it. Mendeecees starts telling Jock about how he misses the friendship that he had with Yandy because they started out as friends, and then somewhere down the line, they lost the friendship. And I understand what he's saying because that happens with a lot of people. You can never lose the core of the relationship, which is the friendship, the bond that you two have. You can't lose that. If you lose that in a relationship, it won't work out. And so I understand what he's trying to say. I just think it's weird that he's saying it now after they break up and she's starting to move on. But not Jock telling Mendeecees to ask ChatGPT what he should do. I think that was so funny because a lot of people do use ChatGPT for those reasons. And I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You just have to train your ChatGPT to not tell you what you want to hear and tell you the truth, because some people are getting fed exactly what they want to hear on ChatGPT, and that's not a good thing. So Yandy and Kendra end up meeting up to have a conversation and catch up about what happened between Yandy and Sierra at Carly's event in last week's episode. And basically, Yandy said that she doesn't understand why Sierra has an issue with her, and that if Sierra would have been minding her business, she wouldn't have gotten into it at the club with this woman that she claims was messing around with Mendeecees. And I mean, Yandy said something true in this conversation. She said that if Sierra was actually her friend, she would have known that her and Mendeecees are not together anymore, and she wouldn't have decided to get into it with some woman at a club over Mendeecees. And I mean, that is true. If she was in Yandy's inner circle and she really had a genuine friendship with Yandy, she would have known that her and Mendeecees are not together anymore, so he can see whoever he wants. It seems like Sierra has been involved in a lot of drama lately, and now we know that she's going through a divorce with Zayn, and so I feel like she's taking out her issues that she has with her relationship and she's projecting it on other people's relationships. She did it with Salma in 24, and now she's doing it with Yandy and Mendeecees. I just feel like Sierra has a lot of work to do on herself. Now she's going through another divorce. Every single season, she's either getting into a new relationship or getting a divorce, and at this point, it's draining. She needs to be single. She needs to probably go to therapy and work on herself and figure out why she needs to be in these relationships the way that she does, because she jumps in and out of them all the time, and it's crazy. I mean, Carly usually does that too, but since she's been single this season, she's actually been more pleasant to watch. Now, Yandy does end up telling Kendra that Mendeecees came home and he had these long stem roses and he wrote her a really long message, and Yandy tells Kendra that she feels like now that she's starting to accept the fact that she's single and no longer with Mendeecees, now all of a sudden he swoops in and he's trying to be the husband that she wanted him to be in the first place. And look, I understand where she's coming from, and I'm not saying that Yandy is perfect or that she's never done anything wrong in the relationship. I'm pretty sure she's had her fair share of being wrong in their relationship. But it seems like to me, and I'm just saying this is my opinion, you don't have to agree with it, but it seems like Mendeecees did not appreciate what he had with Yandy until she was gone. on. Now that she's accepting that they're no longer together, now it seems like he's trying to swoop back in not to lose her. This doesn't just happen in romantic relationships. This sometimes happens in friendships too, where your friend doesn't appreciate you, and then when the two of you fall out and you guys are not talking anymore, then they try to get you back because they miss you, because now they appreciate what you actually brought into their life. And from the way that Yandy was having this conversation with Kendra, it doesn't seem like she's interested in working anything out with Mendeecees. Renie and Carly end up meeting up in this episode because obviously Renie is going through a lot. Zach, her fiance and the father of her child, ended up getting arrested, and obviously he has some very serious charges. We don't know if he's guilty yet, but like I said, there's some very serious charges, and Renie said that she's going to stick beside him. She said that she's not going to leave him. She said that she already lost her mom and she's still grieving that, and so she doesn't want to grieve another person. And look, I understand where Renie's coming from because I just lost my mom 4 months ago, and obviously I'm still grieving that. And I don't think losing your mother, I don't think you ever really get over that. I know that you move forward, but you don't really fully get over it in your heart. And so I understand where she's coming from. However, you cannot stay in a relationship with somebody that's not healthy just because you don't want to grieve again. And she said that she's been through the same situation that she's in with Zach with 2 other guys that she's been with. And I think that that's crazy. I feel like you're in this situation again because you're choosing the same type of guys. And look, if Zach ends up getting convicted and he has to stay in jail and the 2 of them end up breaking up with each other, if she doesn't work through her issue, she's going to end up in this same situation again. It's going to be a constant cycle of her choosing the same type of guys if she doesn't do some work on herself. So Zayn ends up meeting up with Mendeecees, and he starts opening up to him about how he's closing on a house and he doesn't know if he's going to put Ashley's name on the house because she still has her ex-husband's last name. Like I said, he just keeps talking about this damn last name thing. And then he mentions that she has her ex's name tattooed on her, so when they're being intimate, all he sees is this man's name. And I feel like this is something that he could have kept to himself. It seems like he's constantly trying to make Ashley look bad, and it never seems like he's actually on her side with things. I can understand him being bothered about the last name thing, but this tattoo, didn't she have the tattoo before she met him? I mean, she had to have gotten this man's name tattooed on her before she met Zayn, because I highly doubt that she would get another man's name tattooed on her while she's married to Zayn. So it's like he knew about this tattoo before he decided to marry her. Why didn't he ask her to get it removed or get it covered up before he decided to get married? So everything that he's complaining about are things that he knew before he married her. So I just don't understand why he's bringing these things up now. So Jessica ends up getting engaged to Nathan, the man that she's pregnant by, and I am happy for her if she's happy, and she seems like she is happy. However, the way that they got into it in last week's episode, because she said that she was going to work once she has that baby and that she's going to be going back and forth from New York to Paris, he did not seem happy about it, and they got into a pretty heated back and forth about it. So I'm surprised that after that they decided that they wanted to get married. I feel like they have a lot of work to do and more growing to do in their relationship before they get married. So at the very end of this episode, Mendeecees ends up taking Yandy out, walking through a cornfield with him, which she seemed to be a little bit weirded out by because she didn't understand why they were doing it. And then while they're walking, he holds her hand, and she's a little bit awkward because she said that he hasn't held her hand in months. And while they're walking, he has these little notes about friendship all over the place, and then he sits her down and they watch this slideshow of old pictures of the 2 of them together, and she's confused as to why he's doing all of this. He claims that he wants to get their friendship back. He says that he's not trying to get back together with her. He just wants to be her friend again because they go days without speaking to each other, and sometimes the only time that he sees her is on social media. And Yandy seems completely confused about all of this because he's saying that he wants to be her friend, but then everything that he's doing makes it seem like he's not trying to be her friend. He's trying to rekindle something romantic, because she even blurted out that he woke up in her bed that morning. I mean, like I said before, I understand what he's trying to say. He wants to get the friendship back because that was the part that they lost in their relationship somewhere down the line, and without the friendship, you don't really have a strong relationship. So he's trying to fix that first, and then if they can get the friendship back, then maybe they can rekindle something romantic. That's what he's trying to do. But from Yandy's side, she feels like he's trying to stop her from fully moving on from him, because now that she's accepting the fact that they're no longer together, now all of a sudden he wants to get back in her good graces. He's buying her roses. He's sleeping in her bed. He's taking her out on dates, creating these slideshows, because look, he's saying that he wants to get the friendship back and he's not trying to get back together, but yet the pictures in the slideshow were of them in a romantic relationship with each other. They were hugged up in all of those pictures. Some of those pictures are from when she was pregnant. Like, those were not them being friends friends in those pictures. So to me, it seems like, and I'm not saying this is his intentions, but it seems a little bit manipulative. It seems like he doesn't want to let her fully walk out of the door. That's what it seems like. It doesn't seem like he wants her to fully move on from him. It seems like Yandy thinks that Mendeecees is playing games at this point, and I don't know if he is, but I got that a little bit too. But those are my thoughts on this week's episode of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video.